So today we're having an exhibition of sorts. Each of these images is an individual satellite image. A bunch of different satellites. For instance, here we have the Landsat satellite. It's offered by USGS. And it's kind of an art exhibition. We're kind of trying to increase spatial literacy through art. And each of these satellite images is being treated as a piece of artwork. It started as a few years ago, and even her mentor before her wanted to perform this, but she all got it started, kick-started, and encouraged each of her individual students to find an image that spoke to them. And how does this image explain a little bit about you? And each student chose their individual image, and this is a project. It's being graded for her class for marks, And so this is all done by students, but put on by our mentor. The goal would be to increase awareness for the everyday student, or I shouldn't say it that way, for students in this university, because if you say, oh, we have these satellite images, that seems a little bit intimidating at first, but when you convey it in such a way like, oh, look at how artistic this is, you spark interest. So we're trying to spark interest in the field of remote sensing, but spatial data in general.
We're looking at an overview of the Bangweulu wetlands in northeastern Zambia. This image was collected using Landsat 8, and it was acquired on May 10th, 2018. So these wetlands cover approximately 6,000 square kilometers, and the whole park that they're contained in is about roughly the size of the state of Connecticut, which is like huge. This is a huge area, and we're going to find out that, it's really important environmentally. They've done a lot of great conservation work in it. So the fact that it's so huge and so protected is really great from an environmental standpoint. So it's next to Lake Bangweulu, hence why, it's called the Bangweulu wetlands. And there are several rivers that feed into it. There are several different types of wetlands contained within this park.
What is Mount Taranaki? So this is actually a dormant volcano rather than just a normal mountain. It is located on the Taranaki Peninsula on the North Island of New Zealand, if I can speak. It is surrounded by the Egmont National Park, and in this image, it is that darker green, almost perfect circle around the mountain. That is the national park itself, and then the other lighter greens are the agricultural areas of the peninsula. The volcano itself is 8,260 feet tall, and the mountain right next to it that's 1 mile away is 6,438 feet tall. So they're decently tall volcanoes. The Mount Taranaki is actually the youngest and most southern of this volcano chain that's there.
The entire picture is labeled the Sewaniki Blackwater River, but the Sewaniki River is actually, if you look up at the top section, that river piece, it goes into a large, darker region and then goes into the ocean. The dark region is actually the Blackwater region, which is the actual Ofenoki swamp. It's a really confusing picture from the name of it, but when I explain it to you, it'll make more sense. So the Sewaniki Blackwater River, this photo is located just north of Florida. It's like the northwest-ish region. The Blackwater term refers to the swamp-like area. Oh, I can't see. So swamp-like areas toward the end of the river known as the Ofenoki Swamp that leads into the ocean. It gets its name from being a dark brown color, which is caused by the organic materials in the water, like algae and different necrotic material from just being a swamp. It naturally just builds up over time and it gives it that really cool color.
You see those dark lines going down it. Those are left by events called Gokulau, which are caused by the floods caused by glacial lakes breaking through the ice, flowing downhill. Just to the north of where this picture is a big national park called Vatnajökull, and to the south is the ocean. The picture is displayed with false color, so you can see like the vegetation is red. There's not much vegetation outside of this area, but in this area there's a lot of grass and mud and even some trees that started to grow.
It features the Amazon River in the heart of northern Brazil's rainforest. The technique for this image, it uses false coloring, which makes the land vegetation appear pink or reddish, while the water appears green and dark blue. This image was acquired on the 6th of July in 2012. The satellite used was the Korean Aerospace Research Institute's COMSAT-2. The satellite was launched on July 28th of 2006. The satellite was equipped with a multi-spectral camera, which had the ability of taking 1 meter resolution panoramic images, along with 4-band multispectral imagery with 4 meter resolution. Also, the altitude that the satellite is at currently is 685 kilometers.
This is what it actually looks like from space. This is the Etosha National Park, and the specific image from Landsat is the Etosha salt pan, which is a super cool ecological feature. Long time ago, a couple 100,000 years, the salt pan used to be a lake. So this image in the top right corner is what this is. And this is just a general NASA image of it visually. 16,000 years ago-ish, there was a tectonic plate shift in Africa, and the river that directly fed into this lake was rerouted back into the Atlantic Ocean. So over the course of those years, with the winds that go across the western part of Africa and just evaporation from the sun, the lake dried up, leaving behind the salt pan.
It's the blue area, but also the lake tends to dry up a lot. So you can kind of see in the eastern half of the lake, the water is either like extremely shallow or not there. But the lake is in Western Australia. And I thought this was kind of cool. It's actually on the Tropic of Capricorn. So it's a kind of nifty little fact. And then the entire reason I chose this image was the name. So I wanted to figure out why it was named Lake Disappointment. But basically an explorer was in the area and he noticed a bunch of streams were all flowing inland. And so he was following them, expecting to find this like great big lake. And he named it after his disappointment when he found that, one, it dries up a lot, and two, it's a saltwater lake.
So this is called the Icy Vortex, and it was taken with Landsat 8, and it's swirling ice in the Fox Basin of northern Canada. And what I found surprising about this was it was actually taken in this July. The description on the website compares it to a like an imitation Jackson Pollock painting based on the loose style, especially towards like the top with like the green swirl. But what really stuck out to me about this, what I wondered, was the reddish color at the bottom. It almost looks like a thermal like detection kind of thing, where it, you know, tells temperature. Because like the red and green, I was wondering where that came from, and looking into it, there was no like definitive explanation for why there's all the red at the bottom. But there are a couple theories. The first one that the website talked about that I was looking into was that it could be potential like air emission from other things. Particularly the one they talked about the most was like fire. Just like the smoke clouds from fire could give the ice a darker color, and it could help melt it a little bit.
This is the Aral Sea, and I just picked this because I like the different colors, like the contrast between the bright colors and the dark colors on like the left. And for the geology, it was located on the border between Kazakhstan and the Uzbekistan in Central Asia, which is on the map to the top right. You can see it like kind of like in the middle. And eventually it lost 90% of the water due to the irrigation practices. And the northern area consists of like a dry salt terrain, and it's called the Aral Karakum Desert, which the southern section of the water has been stabilized. And that was stabilized because of the dam that was built that the country of Kazakhstan really put like an effort into.
Images shown in red are from the 17th of October in 2014, green on the 28th of December of the same year, and blue was used on the 14th of February in 2015. There's now two spots in the images that are kind of stand out. So on the right side of the image, where we have water flowing in, as you can see, there's the red, it's red, yellow, and green. This shows water flowing in from one of the major rivers that lead into the Aral Sea. And through the three different images, we're able to see where the water flowed from and how far it reached inland into the sea. And then the second part is on the left side where it's very dark. This is where water still remains in the Aral Sea.